Hey, Scotty.
Hey, Jeremy, how you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. It's almost spring.
I know it's almost starting to feel like it. Still
Oh, I
just a
know.
little bit on the chilly side.
Yeah, it was. It was about 27 degrees this morning, so it was a little chilly, but man, warm weather is right around the corner.
Yes, it is. And you know what? Today's going to be exciting. This particular episode.
Oh, dude, I know, right, man? Like,
Yeah,
I'm I always get excited, but I'm like really excited about this one as well
yeah, because we're
because
always looking for things that are here around us. And tonight we're going to be discussing things that are above us.
absolutely, and you always look up in the sky and you're like, okay, yeah, that's a 747 or, over by me, I live by the Air National Guard and they have the A-10 Warhawks. So I know what those look like. I know what they sound like. I
Yeah.
know. And it's just always that one little time, man. You're like,
I know. Well, earlier today, I was out running around doing some shopping. And I seen something in the sky, and it looked like it was one of them inflatable balloons. And as I got closer, it turned out it was, but it was moving awfully fast.
and
So
see, that's awesome, man.
yeah. So what do you say we bring him on, ladies and gentlemen, Mister? I hope I'm saying his last name right, but Mister David Teer.
Yes, it's David Teer, the backyard ufologist. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me
Yes,
on
I
the
said it
show.
right.
How you doing, David?
I'm hanging in there. I'm waiting for springtime like you guys, man.
Oh, man, I cannot wait.
Yeah, if we keep the internet going, we'll be in good shape, huh?
Yeah, I know. I had to reset my
I
router.
got a rag on Xfinity. Xfinity is, when I have to call them, I break out in hives. I have to deal with
Right.
those people. They don't communicate. And I tell them, they go, well, why are you leaving? I said, because of customer service. That's the biggest thing that we get. Yeah. Well, why don't you tell your supervisor? But anyway, I always have to come back because it's one of the best that's around here. So, the worst of the best, if you will.
No,
Yeah.
I definitely understand. I live out in the country, and it's always been hard to get good internet out here. So,
It is. He
but mine's
lives
better than
way out
Jeremy's.
in Timbuktu.
So now Starlink, I'm looking into it. I'm hearing some really good things about it. And I don't want to go down that route, but I like Elon. But we'll see, what happens. I want to try it out. It's cheaper than Xfinity, and the download and upload numbers are twice what I'm paying for. And it's like $10 cheaper. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't
It
have
never
to,
hurts to try it out.
it's about $650 to buy everything, so it's going to be an investment, but you can take it with
Right.
you, all the time. So, and it's not really bad. It's 110 a month. So, but you can get it everywhere, because the satellites are coming over, and
Right.
I'm starting to identify those things, because I'm out a lot. I go, okay, well, that's a Starlink. I don't even waste my time with it, because when you see one, there's a few others that is traveling with it, it's not alone usually. So, and then I've got satellites live. It tells me, man, I'm paying for that. It better be good. It is right dead on, man. It's dead on what's coming over. I go, oh man, what did I just see? Oh, that was NORAD. I said, damn, I said, that looked like a UFO. And so I see the UFOs sometime. They come over it. And I said, man, that's a damn satellite, And all of a sudden it powers up, and it starts blinking at me. And I go, oh, man. But, when I start meditating and I really get into it, when I'm really into it, you can go out there. If you're not into it, they're not going to really respond to you. You've got to meditate and connect with them spiritually. And that's me, I don't really look for the nuts and bolts, but we have them here.
Yes, we do.
We have the Space Force. I've seen them come over in formation. My wife saw them come over. She ran out. She said, oh, God, David, what have you done? We're being invaded. I went out there, and it was the TR 3Bs, and they were in formation in a chevron formation coming over. Then there was another, and then another row. And I go, oh, wow, I know exactly who that is. And they're coming from somewhere out here on Long Island, around New York and the area right in here. And I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't have, underwater base there somewhere. Because they're all out there around Bridgeport, Connecticut. Some guy was up there on the beach recording them, and it's across from that nuclear, I don't know what's called, Brookstone, something like that. One of those proving for the military, making all those futuristic weapons and stuff. But anyway, and he just kind of disappeared. So I said, damn, don't go out there on the beach recording by yourself,
Yeah, absolutely not.
I've been out there, and it's if something happens, nobody's going to know about it, until they find you later or something. There's no telling what's out there. I mean, I'm not trying to spread fear or anything, but usually I don't have anybody to skywatch with, and I have joined a new group on Facebook. Finally, I hate joining these groups because there's so many of them. And then when you state your opinion, you go, well, I don't believe this because of that. And I said, we just have to agree to disagree. And they get all pissed off. And I go, what's wrong? I'm just giving you my opinion, just because I don't agree with you. And then they come to your channel and start giving you thumbs down on every one of your videos. I said, oh, I wonder who that could be, Yes.
So,
I said, what am I wasting my time trying to tell people something, don't throw your pearls to dogs, and sometimes you got to know when to do that and when not to.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I'm learning that more. I thought I knew it, but obviously I didn't. And then they get mad if I don't join their group when they subscribe to me. So they unsubscribe. So I'm learning all of this, I said, I don't mean anything bad. I mean, just support me, by subscribing. You're not giving me money or anything. It's like an honor for me to subscribe to you. It's Facebook. I'm a small channel. Come on, dude. I mean, it's YouTube, But I come across some really weird people. The best one I like is I friend somebody and they accept my friendship. I say, hey, I got a YouTube channel. Would you subscribe? Who are you? Why are you bothering me? And I go, seriously? You just friended me. You just accepted my friendship and I asked you to subscribe to my channel. Oh, yeah. And I said, where does these people come from? Not everybody's like that. Now I'll go. Now I was on a really big mission yesterday and the day before. I wanted to get 2,000 subscribers. I had to get it, So I finally made 2,000 last night. And I talked to, I know 200 people. I mean, if you're going to do a YouTube channel, you're either in or you're out. You're all in or you're all out. You're going to suffer until you get there, and I've been suffering. This is my 4th year, and not being monetized. I'm so close, 300 more hours, but 4,000 hours in a 12-month period. This is my 4th try. I'm hoping that I'll make it this time, but we'll see. You never know. And then they add hours. They take subscribers away, and I don't know what's going on there. I ask them, and they go, oh, well, those are fake accounts. And most of my accounts I talk to. I'm asking them to subscribe. Nobody's just subscribing. I'm really going, I know the last ones that I got to make 2,000, I talked to every single one of them and they're real. And they said, we didn't unsubscribe. Somebody would call and say, or email, text or something and say, yeah, I've been unsubscribed. I don't know what's going on. So I don't know if it's algorithms or if you say Trump, Jesus Christ, something like that. They go after you, and I don't understand that. Why don't you just leave people alone and let them believe what they want to believe? I mean, just because we don't believe what you believe, why do we have to be punished? But something that's, we're going to start getting into politics, and I'm not going to get into politics. But do you see what's going on? I mean, we're here. I like to stay on subject, but sometimes it forces you into that area. hey, man, you know, what you do is your business. If you want to dress up like a girl and think you're a girl and you want to run track, you know, on the girls' team and you're a dude, okay, that's between you and your maker, you know. I don't have nothing to do with that. I'm not judging you, but don't push it on me, you know. Don't push everything on me. Hey, I support you, but you know, I'm I will be around the sun 61 times coming up in July. I'm pretty set in my ways, you know. So I don't know. I don't know how we got off on that, but anyway, there's a lot of politics that come into the UFOs sometime. I'll have the Chinooks come over sometime, and they'll look down at me, and they're coming over from Long Island Sound. And I said, oh, okay, I know y'all are watching me. Y'all know they see what's going on here. And if you've seen some of my videos, I mean, it's undeniable. You know, they're coming down, they're flashing, they're moving, zigzagging. You know, no human could take that unless we got reverse engineering. And that's where the meditation comes in, you know, because I was saying, all right, come on, I'm ready for the benevolent extraterrestrials, the Palladians, the feline beings. Now, do you know anything about the feline beings?
No, sir.
The feline beings, you don't have to call me sir. But anyway, the feline beings are giants, and they were protectors of kings and emperors. In India, they have ancient paintings of the big tigers and the lions in the chair, you know, around with all this food and people around them and stuff. Well, they were the protectors, and they are spiritual beings, and they are extraterrestrials, and they're giants. And I model my place after James Gillian at East Eddy Ranch in Trout Lake, Washington. I don't know if you know him or not, but he is the reason why everything's going on here. And he won't take credit. He says, I'm nobody. I'm not your guru. This is not a cult. You know, I'm just telling you what I do, and I share it. If you want to do it, this is what I do. And so that's what I started to do, because I've always been into the UFOs. I said, I don't think they'll ever come over here. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. The feline beings are spirits that protect, and I ask them to come here and protect. And you can see them if you've watched any of my shows. You can see them. They're in spiritual form. Sometimes I catch them. They're laying in that fairy circle, or they're standing up. I've had the big Pharaoh giants come. I've got some pictures. I think I can show some of those, but I'll have to try to find them. I was so rushed today doing the show, being in the studio all day, but I was working on other things. But the feline beings are giants, and they're not Nephilim. Now, I know you a lot of people say, well, isn't that Nephilim, you know, the giants that were on Earth? And I said, no, this is different. This is a different kind. And they're benevolent entities, and they do protect people. But nevertheless, I asked them to come, and of course the Palladians, and that's the main two that come here. And I've had dreams. I don't know if you call it lucid dreams, maybe. Maybe they're just dreams. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but I go on board the craft. Yeah, I'm able to fly it. I always said, let me get my check ride. I'm always out there saying, come on down, take me around. Let me get my check ride, and everything. Well, I had a dream. I guess it was a dream. I was on board the ship and I was flying it. And I knew what every control did and everything. And I said, okay, I got to push this one. And I was over a red planet. It wasn't Mars. It was more of a blood red planet, not like Mars, not iron, but red. But I was just going over it, and I heard people behind me, and a door opened. A guy comes in and he goes, "You're letting David fly?" And he goes, "Yeah, he can fly. What's wrong? What's wrong with that?" He said, "He can't remember any of this." He said, "Don't worry, he won't." And the only thing that they let me remember is that I got my check ride. I said, that was so cool. I mean, how do you have a dream like that? But I've been on board. Yeah, I've been on board, and I came on board an old ship. It was an older ship that landed, and it was more cylinder type. I got in. The pilot's chair was torn. You could see the foam It was just an old ship, and they had the bars coming down where you held on, and there was my spirit guide, Sarah. Sarah was there. She goes, "Hello, David," and I go, "Wow, Sarah, I haven't seen you in a long time." And these things happen. I know a lot of people don't. You got to really live it, man. I'm not really a hippie or anything, but these things are happening to me. I mean, and I talk about it. I don't care. If they would call me crazy or whatever. But anyway, my spirit guide, I remember when she was assigned to me, and I go, "Wait, not a woman, not a girl." I said, "Give me a guy, give me a dude." I said, "Are you crazy?" I might hit on her or something. I might say something bad. But she goes, "No, you're stuck with me, Jack, and you're not going to hit on me." So anyway, I told my wife that, and she just laughed. She says, "I believe every word, Dave." Some of the things that she's seen around here over the years too. It's just been really crazy. But yeah, I went on board. The seats were torn, and I did take the craft off, and I was flying it around. And the guy that flew it had white hair, and the other people had white hair. So I said that had to be the Nordics or either the Palladians. I'm thinking Palladians. And he was a little impatient. He says, okay, you can land now. He didn't want me flying his ship. And we landed, and I said, "Okay, thanks a lot. You got to fly. Bye, Dave." And I went out, and I go, wow, it's just, when it's time, they'll come and get you. When it's time, everything will happen when it's time. This is the message I get. Quit being so forceful, trying to make things happen. Relax, and I got that message today while I was trying to do my show. And I just said, relax, you're getting too involved. You got to let go. And that's what I do sometimes when I get out there, when it gets those perfect zone times, when you're in the zone. Man, they come too. They come, and you're connected, and you can see them. It's the spiritual ships, not the nuts and bolts, and they make themselves known. I've caught them on tape. I've got them on video, and they just have and when they appear, I get giddy, man. I get high, and that's what it feels like. It's a high feeling, It's like I'm being touched, and I'm having fun and joking and laughing. And
that's how it is for us when we're doing our investigations and we're getting a crazy amount of activity.
Yeah, you get benevolent entities. Yeah, benevolent entities are having fun. They're not going to be, you never hear of an abduction on Mount Adams or Trout Lake at Washington where James Gillian is. There's no abductions here. This is the Hammonessa Leyline, according to Graham Hancock. I don't know if you know who he is, but he did the ley line maps, and this ley line comes straight through here, that Hammonessa Leyline. And there's others that crisscross. So we get in a little triangle in my little area in about an acre. And if you can look from the ground, and you can see faces in the trees. I mean, I swear, the drone, I've got it on my shows, and I've showed that. But yeah, it's a lot of the quartz boulders are lined up. They're ancient. They've been there for years. I see all kind of stuff around them, all kind of orbs. I catch a lot of orb activity. I take the pictures, and you can see the entities inside. Sometimes they're real pixelized, but sometimes they come in clear as a bell. If they want you to see them, they'll let it be seen. That's for sure. They flee for some reason. They don't like the light. I don't know if that's what it is, the flash or something, but there's two that will come, and they hang out. And that you can see the face in it, both of them. I don't know if it's my guardian angels or part of the Palladians or the the feline beings. I'm thinking more spiritual, more high dimension, like your 13th dimension, way up there, and they're gold, and they have this power just radiating off of it. And you see the face, and this guy's like this, just looking at me like, poor dude, man, he's got a long way to go. I remember when I was like that, I go, my wife pointed that out. Look, his hands are under his chin. And I go, I'll be damned. And I got a picture of that. I can show too later if you want to share pictures.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Now,
But
I
anyway,
have to
go ahead.
ask.
Go ahead.
I have to ask. You were talking about the feline and all that, and it made me start thinking about the ancient civilizations that have hieroglyphics of
The Anunnaki.
spaceships. Is it that you think that would be something that they were seeing and experiencing?
Who? Me?
Like no, like during the ancient civilizations.
Oh, yeah. I hear what you're saying. Yes, of course, definitely. And you know, I think there were two sets of people. You had the fallen angels, and then you had the watchers. Angels can't get women pregnant. Extraterrestrials can, you know. So they they were the watchers, and they left their own estate, is what the Bible says. Genesis 6, Genesis 4, something like that. I'm sorry, I'm not really good at remembering a lot of stuff. 1 John 4:1-4, I have to remember. But anyway, here we go. I'll tell you what that means in a minute. But anyway, they came down, and I believe they came down in ships like towards Ezekiel, like Ezekiel saw that ship come down. I mean, what else could it be? You know, bringing fire down and everything. If it was God, he's not going to have fire coming down in a ship. You know, I believe these are some of the watchers, and they were messengers. And that's why they call angels messengers. And I think they kind of got mixed up. And when these extraterrestrials mated with the women, and then they had giants, and they called them Nephilim. And I believe, they were really nice guys at first. You know, I don't know if there were any women. They never talk about that, but they said they found skeleton remains of women that are giants, and they hide it and cover everything up, you know. So who's this guy? That's him. He's sitting there.
All right.
It's an extraterrestrial.
This here is actually the guy that recruited you to be on this show.
He was laughing. He was looking at me, smiling. I was going, "Uh-oh,
yeah,
the Men in Black here."
Yeah, Tim is actually the guy that talked to you about being on the show way back when.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
And he had just changed his work schedule, so he was actually not supposed to be here tonight. Luckily, he was able to get off work early.
Cool.
Yeah, because we were upset that he wasn't going to be on the show because he got you, and I'm like, you know.
Oh, wow.
But now he's here.
Well, thank you, Teer.
Now I'm here.
Glad you're here.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. Well, you know, I'm hanging in there. I have my bad knee every once in a while, but other than that, you know, I go to the gym every night. I got to go to the gym after this broadcast. I'm usually there right now. I told everybody I'm not coming tonight, so
I just took my knee braces off.
I hang out with the kids. I try to stay young, you know. They're football players in high school, you know, and gosh, they're just great. I gave them some of my Alabamas. I'm from Alabama originally, and I have the Crimson Tide shirts and stuff. Giving it to them in the hats, and man, they have family. It's going to. I'm going to. Well, I'm going to get in the Air Force. I'm going to the University of Alabama. I thought, all right, and I just listened to them. I said, man.
And now you're living on Long Island.
Yeah, Long Island and Connecticut. Actually, I'm on the other side of New York. Thank God. I worked in the city for a long time. I was a nurse and an actor and disc jockey, and I worked on the originals, the Vampire Diaries, The Walking Dead. You probably don't even know that. Yeah, I've got pictures. I have some old pictures. You remember when they gave the box of I always say this, the box of aspirin at the big house to Xander, you know, that was Xander Berkeley, whatever his name is, to trade for the doctor. You know, it was a box of aspirins, you know, a whole crate. That's one of the episodes I'm in that I have speaking lines and stuff. You know, they go down in the basement and they're hiding down there, but the guy don't see them. That's a guy standing next to me too, and we talk. But anyway,
that was awesome.
Yeah, I was doing it, and I got an agent. They want me to go back, but my mother-in-law lives there. She's 91. We moved down there. I worked there a couple of years, I guess. We still had the house here. And we just had to come back because, you know, I couldn't pay for a house. And then down there, and then my dad had passed away in Alabama, and we were trying to get everything out of the house there to sell it, get ready to sell it. And it was just really a lot of turmoil. You know, it was just a really stressful time for me, and a lot of family issues that I just couldn't believe that came up. But you know how it is. You can't pick your family. Pick your friends, but you can't pick your family. Well, anyway, I had an agent and he kept me busy. He got pissed off because he said, I'm getting you all these jobs, man. You know, why don't you do it? I said, man, don't you see what I got going on here? You know, but anyway, they want me to come back, and I have a lot of friends down there in Atlanta. And then COVID hit, and that was it for a while. And now it's starting back a little bit, and I don't know if I'm going to go back. I've been talking to a production company that does the Christmas Hallmark channels up here, you know, the Christmas movies. So I said, okay, you know, if it's a couple of miles up the street, you know, in these cities, the little towns in Connecticut that are just beautiful, you know, New England towns. I live in one myself, but it's not like up the coast a little bit, you know, where the rich people are. But they always do it in the summertime, you know, in June and July, and they make their own snow. And I laugh my ass off. I say, they don't know what snow is in New England. Come here, man. And then it's melting, you know, you see it melting so fast, and they make it there. But that's when they do those Christmas movies. So I've applied for a couple that's coming up. Try to keep, you know, doing something and making a little money, and voiceovers. And you know, I don't want to work in radio anymore unless I, you know, go on like and on satellite or something and do talk radio on the paranormal UFOs like we're doing right here, and do like an Art Bell thing. You know, that would be fun, coast to coast, Jimmy Church, something like that. But other than that, you know, I've been invited to come to the UFO, some of the conferences and stuff. I haven't been invited to speak, but I've been invited to come. And I said, well, I just can't afford it right now. You know, if you pay my way and my hotel and the food and everything else, I'll go. But I just can't do it right now. If the channel ever starts making some money, I will do stuff like that if I do make some money. But, you know, you never know what's going to happen. You know, the UFOs may quit coming over, you know, and that's it for me. You know, I don't know, but I don't know where I was before I started to go off on my ramble like I do. But we were talking about felines and stuff, but nevertheless, oh my goodness.
I heard Scott ask you a question about ancient civilizations with
that's it. Yeah,
with like the Egyptians and stuff, and they found hieroglyphics. They found little golden objects that resembles a modern plane.
Oh, yeah.
My big thing has been the Nazca lines.
Oh,
Nazca lines. Okay. Yeah.
Where they've drawn these huge glyphs on the ground, and you can only see them from up high.
Right. Who's the guy? Donovan, the guy that wrote the book Chariots of the Gods. What's his name?
Von.
You know who I'm talking about. God, I'm awful, man. I know. I see his face.
I'm going to Eric something.
Yeah, I know, man. I get right there too. Devonigan or something like that. Yeah, he's the one that really. He even discovered one. The ape, I think he discovered. And they're waving. Yeah, they're seeing something from above. And before the flood, I think that we did have the technology, I believe. Now, if you're asking me, these people, they thought that they were ancient aliens or something. I believe that we were already out in the solar system and we were on planets. And I believe, I don't know if it was the war in heaven. I don't know if it's the one they're talking about in what is it called? The Maharaji.
Maharaji?
I don't know what it's called. It's called something else. I'm sorry. I can't remember. But it shows in India where the bomb was bright as the sun, and elephants and animals were running to and fro that were on fire. It was brighter than the sun. One was a nuclear explosion. I mean, we've had a few of those in ancient times. I believe it was a war in heaven, and it might have been when Satan was, cast out. I don't know. I'm just trying to think about it myself, and it's just my opinion. There was a giant planet, and Mars was the moon, or it was the moon of Mars. I don't know. I can't remember the name of the planet. David Wilcock even said something about, mentioned it, and he had a name for it. But there were giants that lived there, and everything was giant, bigger than we were. And Mars had all types of extraterrestrials and races on it, from 6-inch people to giants that lived in certain areas of Mars, and they provided stuff for the solar system. It was a big trading place, and they built all kind of different stuff there. And I believe when that war happened, that planet got destroyed, and it's our asteroid belt now. And that's what happened to Mars, and the effects from that planet and the other planets, and I think they all shifted. And it was just like Battlestar Galactica, when the Cylons attacked all the planets, and they all kind of just got crazy there. And some of the ships that didn't have faster than light speeds, engines, would crash into other planets, or they had to, they'd get destroyed, or they'd have to land somewhere. They couldn't stay in space. Land on the moon, die, land somewhere where there's no food, everything's radioactive, and then these people in the ships that had the FTL drives left, and it's kind of something like that, here. They see a lot of ships that are crashed on the moon and other planets. They're not going to tell you about it. And on Mars and other places that could not get away. And some of them are just petrified. Joe White from ancient, what is it called? Art Alien TV and Space Detective is Mr. Joe White. He goes into detail about all the pictures from all of the rovers for years now. And some of the stuff that he is finding and showing is just, I said, well, that's it. That's what that is. I mean, you just can't deny it. I mean, you see what's going on, and it's just a big cover up. But yes, I believe it was ancient aliens. I do believe that they came down a lot. They came down after the flood, and like Ezekiel, they came down, and you can see the hand with paper in it, like handing him information, knowledge, technology, or something.
I'm actually with you on that, because I'm big into the ancient alien theory myself. And I do believe we have been visited way back.
I was gonna elaborate a little bit about what you're talking about ancient people having more knowledge. There's a book out there. It's called the Zohar. It was written by it's a book about Jewish mysticism. It dates back about 5,000 or 6,000 years. They're not 100% sure on the date. But that book outlined superstring theory, which didn't come out until 1927 or 28.
I don't know anything about it,
Well, modern physics didn't discover superstring theory until the 1900s.
Wow. And
here, this book outlined it 5,000 years before we rediscovered it.
Yeah.
So I believe strongly that there was knowledge that the ancients had that was lost.
Yes, it's
gone an enormous amount of time.
That's why Graham Hancock says we're a civilization now that has amnesia, is what he says. Richard Hoagland, he is a big Mars guy. He used to be. He's the one about the face on Mars that raised hell with NASA. He worked at NASA, and of course they just slammed him. And of course Clifford Stone, he just died about 3 weeks ago, and he used to go on board the crashed ships. How do they crash if they're so technical, technology is so good. Are we bringing them down somehow? According to what's his name, it was
Well, that's
Colonel
a good question because
Corso.
the Roswell crash.
Yeah, Colonel Corso, the day after Roswell, he was the colonel, and he was really assigned all of the UFOs. It had the file cabinet and everything, and wrote a book about it. It's called The Day After Roswell. He said that their radar could bring them down. He said they would come to him and ask him to turn off the radar where they could leave the extraterrestrials. And they even made a movie about it in the 50s. He said, that's where that movie comes from. He said, when they're, that radar dish is on there, it brings down the ships, the flying saucers. He said, that's exactly the way it is. There's always some truth in it. You got about, 90% of the truth in it, maybe. I don't know. And some of these things they put out, but ancient aliens, that's kind of a commercial, UFO stuff. Some of the stuff is interesting, but they touch and scratch the surface, but they don't go all, they stop. It's just like UFO hunters. They showed what they're doing with these cows. Had this monstrosity with a human head and everything. When they cut them off, said, hey, you're canceled. You can't do that. You can't do that stuff. You can't tell the truth. You can go chase them, and I watch all of this and I go, let me comment here. I asked these UFO guys, I said, have you ever been to East Eddy Ranch? You can see the ships. And they come and they communicate. They're on the mountain. They land and they go, I never hear from them or say, no, I don't go to East Eddy Ranch,
I've never heard
They're there. They're there. They're there. If you don't know anything about East Eddy Ranch, it's ECETI. It's I don't forget what it stands for, but anyway, enlightened contact with extraterrestrials, something like that. But anyway, he just kind of stumbled on it. He bought the place and he saw it in a dream, and he was going to make a meditation. He's a real big hippie too, a meditation renewal center, everybody can come. And then UFOs started coming, and it's just his story is so interesting, and the way things happen and the way things started happening with me were so similar. I started seeing these UFOs in Alabama in the 60s, and I lived close to U.S. Steel. And I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but we would see all kind of things in the sky. And I don't share this much, but I will with everybody tonight. My mother was very religious. One day she was out in the yard one night, and she was looking off to the east, and she was like this, and she got on her knees, and I'm like 6 years old. And I said, Mom, what is that in the sky? I could see it. It was a ship. It was a big light. And she goes, it's Jesus. He's coming back. And I go, all right. So I run up the steps. I opened up the door. I said, Dad, come out here. Jesus is coming. I want you to see. Jesus is coming. And Dad walked out there, and he got on the porch, and he looked up there, and he goes, oh boy. And he says, Barbara, you're scaring the children. We started getting a little scared, but it was a UFO, and it just zip, 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 boom, and it was gone. And then we saw more different times, and I'd be playing in the backyard. And this is the way I have to explain this. They're like a Winnebago, okay? And it's got a trailer connected to it, and it's flat like a platform. Those were flying in the sky. They were going up. I don't know where they were coming from, but they were going up, and I'd see people walking on it, and I'd wave, and they'd wave back at me. And I go, wow, look at that. What is that? No wings, nothing, couldn't hear anything. And then there was a time, I don't know if it was a dream or what, I was on the platform looking down. So I remember that, and it's about all I can remember. I do have a lot of memories and memories of being inside ships, a lot. and I can describe some of the stuff and some of the stuff I can't. I can describe one land out here in the backyard, and I'll walk out the door and I go around and I walk up the ramp and get in. It closes. We are taking off. It's night, and I'm looking out this bay window, and I see the house leaving the driveway. We're going up, and I start seeing the lights and everything. And then I'm hearing people, and then when I turn around, it's all gone. I can't remember nothing. I've been trying to regress it hard, but it's not time yet. Like people, the masters tell me, don't push it. It'll come to you when it's time. Just keep asking for clarity. People walking around in the house, people walking around in friends' house and my family's house while I'm there in white robes. And then I go and see, I said, there's nothing but a bathroom and a wall at the end of this hall. And I was in this room, and I come out, nobody, nothing. So these things are appearing to me, and it's like, hey, when you're meditating, you asked us to show ourselves. We're showing ourselves. Guardian angel, spirit guide, extraterrestrial, but they're not going to do it like you want them to do it. It's never like you think it's going to be. But I keep asking for that, and it's like the masters that I talk to. They say, it'll happen when it's time. Don't push it. When you're ready, it will happen. And that's why I've been trying to go to East Eddy Ranch and a couple other places, it'll happen when it's time, so don't let it bother you. Don't let it eat at you. When it happens, it will just happen. I always wanted a nice woman, I tried, and I cried. Until I just let go. And the most beautiful woman and, the ones that Mom used to talk about came into my life. And I just, wow, it's just too good to be true. It was like the first 3 years she said, you tried to run me off because she just couldn't believe it. I said, yeah, I couldn't. But I'm very fortunate that things are coming together, in my life. But you have to let go. I had to let go. That's the key. Acceptance and letting go, and not trying to make things happen and control things. And just
there's a lot of people that could use that kind of advice in every aspect of their life.
Yep.
Well, that's true. And it works. I know that. But
we do have a question in here that I'm wanting to ask you myself. What got you into researching UFOs and searching for them? And how did it eventually get into the backyard ufologist aspect?
Well, they've showed up everywhere I am, and I was taking pictures out in the backyard, and I kept getting these orbs and stuff, and I could see ships fly. I said, wow, that's something. I'd send the pictures out and ask people, what do you think this is, And I started researching it, and this was years ago. This is like 20 years ago. I started taking pictures. Every time I take a picture, I'd have some kind of orb or something in it, and I started researching the area and everything, and started doing and they would come over and power up and flash at me, and I go, wow, I just saw UFO, I go, that's true. I said, that's what they do at East Eddy. So, I asked James Gillian, he goes, well, if that's happening, Dave, he says, probably a lot more happening than you know about, that they're not revealing to you yet. He said, just keep on, and so over time, a picture will be painted, and it has. I'm showing what's happening here, the Hammonessa Leyline, the quartz boulders. But that's how I got into it here, because I've always been into it. But I didn't think it was here, in close to the city and the hustle and bustle. But yeah, they come here too. In Alabama, like my mother, and seeing all those ships. I don't know if they were picking up steel or something, U.S. steel, but they sure did fly around that plant a lot, which was really huge. It went like Inslee, Fairfield, and it was one of the longest buildings in the world for many years. It was right there. My dad worked there. Everybody worked there but me. The whole family, from way back in the old age, 40s and 50s, and even beyond that family. Because when I, became of age, it was in the 70s, and you couldn't work there anymore. But nevertheless, foreign steel and they were getting ready to close down, laying everybody off. So they wasn't hiring anybody. But that was something that came to an end in Alabama and Birmingham and Pittsburgh. But anyway, they would fly over that area all the time. Like I said, I'd see them in Winnebagos pulling those trailers. So the paranormal, there's a cemetery. It's a pretty big cemetery. I guess 3 or 4 acres. It's even bigger now. My aunt lived right across the street from it. And she said she'd see stuff all the time because she stayed up all night smoking those true cigarettes and reading books. Her husband, my uncle, worked at the hospital all night in maintenance. So she stayed up, she was a night owl. And I was a night owl. I used to go by and see her and smoke cigarettes, But we would talk about that. And every one of the employees now that worked at Oakland Cemetery were old Black gentlemen. And I knew them very well. And back then, they worked for my dad and my grandmother. They did yard work. They did all kind of stuff. And, they took care of them. And they would dig the graves. And they would do it with picks and shovels. Didn't have a backhoe back then. I guess they did, but they didn't there. And I would help them dig the graves. And they would see stuff. One would leave. He said, I'm gone. They would leave. They said, I can't handle this. What did you see? Somebody walking across the road, it was a ghost. And we would see those things. And I would bring them water, sodas and sandwiches. They always loved to see me coming because I always had something good. And I would help them dig the graves and stuff. But we saw a lot of ghosts there. And then when I became a teenager, I got brave and would go in the cemetery. I mean, it was just a hedge, small hedge you could jump over, And we all went through, started getting crowds going through there and seeing stuff. And we would talk about what we saw and everything. There were times when I had tape recorders, and I'm talking about at home. Because I always recorded myself. I think I was born to be some kind of disc jockey or something, I was always recording myself, everything. And I said, there's something wrong with this tape because there's somebody already on here talking. Listen, I said, I just bought this tape. But I had been recording and I was picking up EVPs. And I didn't know that I was picking up the EVPs. I can't remember what they say, but I remember that I said, there's something on the tape. I said, they're selling me defective stuff, defective stuff, because I would play it back and then I'd hear them in the background, I go, wow, there's somebody on the tape. I didn't care what they were saying. I was pissed because they were there, but I guess that's how I got into it, and remembering stuff. And my mother always saying, she could be scary sometimes, my mother. I said, leave the night light on. She goes, oh, don't be afraid of the dark. Just be afraid of what's in the dark. Good night. Click. Did you hear what I said? Don't be afraid of the dark. Be afraid of what's in the dark. Good night. I told her before she died. So that was abuse, Mom. She goes, well, I didn't know any better. Yeah, you didn't. Mom was a young country girl. But that's I guess that's how I got into it. She said, well, there's a ghost in here, and she would talk about the ghosts. So my mother saw a ghost. She said it was down at my my grandmother's house is a block down, and there was always somebody that house was 100 years old, and it's about 200 years old now, and it's been kept up real nice and everything. And I am really glad. I'm going to go by there. The last time I went there, nobody came to the door. So I wanted to go and see it and tell them. And she died there too. But, oh, wow. It's just so many things that happen in my neighborhood and then other places wherever I'd go. So I guess I might have been haunted, I was chosen or something, whatever they say. Because wherever I go, like at my mother-in-law's house in Atlanta, I said, there's somebody at the door with a cape on or something. And she showed me a picture, and that was her mother from Poland. And that's exactly who I saw. I said, your mother's here? She goes, "Oh my God, David, oh my God." And she'd come up here and stay. And she goes, "I don't know about y'all's house up here." She thinks the house is haunted. And she said, "When I came there," she goes, "Oh, it's you, isn't it?" She has knocking on her door. Nobody's there. They put cameras up and everything. She's 90. She'll be 92 in April. And
Dang.
yeah, and when she says, "I hear cats, I see them." I got to tell you this story. When I was there, I heard the cats. And I said, "There's cats." And I went outside. I looked everywhere. I saw no cats. Feline beings. But anyway, she saw them one night. And this has been about 2 months ago. And she said, "I got to tell y'all something." Because she knows she can talk to us about that stuff. She called the police. The police came. She said, "There's somebody in the house and there's cats in the house." She said, "I got two trapped in the bathroom, two cats, and there's one under the," and she's, "Well, ma'am, we got to call animal control." So animal control came out there, and then they opened the door and went in the bedroom where her bathroom is. And they said, "There it goes. It's going under the bed." They saw it. It's under the bed, and they got everything on, the lights on. There's nothing there. And they were going,
Dang.
"Oh my God." And there's two in there, and they opened up the bathroom, nothing there. And they saw it though. I said, "They saw it." What'd they say? They didn't want to say nothing, David. And I said, "Yeah, I know." I said, "See, you just got ghosts." I said, say, "Hey, just leave me alone. If they're scaring you, tell them to go away. But say, get up on the bed and go to bed, love me, be with me." I said, "If you're not benevolent, do 1 John 4:14. That's what I was going to tell you. You've got to do that test that God gives you, because he knew that you're going to come across these spirits and these entities. And if you pull out that toolbox and do 1 John 4:14, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I don't want to get, push that on you. But that's just what works for me. That's all I'm saying. And it hadn't let me down yet. So there's been some really nasty entities and demons that I've fooled with. They've even called me on the phone. And the phone line that they used, it came from a hospital, Hartford Hospital, of all places. It was in a waiting room that you can't call out on, is the line. You can only receive calls. That's what security said. Security took it very seriously. The hospital security, they did a thorough investigation, said, "Yeah, it's been some call outs on this line. It shouldn't have been. There shouldn't be any call outs on this line. It's only incoming." The I will say demon, and I had it on voicemail because I didn't answer the phone, and where it went, I don't know. I've been trying to find it, can't find it nowhere. It's disappeared. I hate that, but because people don't believe me. But anyway, you don't have your evidence. I usually don't say anything, but this thing said, and the voice was horrible. It was horrible. It'd make your hair stand up on your neck. Said, "David, you really effed me up. You ran me from my home, and I'm going to F your life up." And there's hung up. And I go, "Oh my God." I go, and at that time, I said, "I'm going to be fine." It's like, "You're going to be fine." Whatever was around me said, "You're going to be all right. Don't you worry about it." I never worried about it. But yeah, I must have ran some demons out when I was a paranormal investigator in other people's homes and stuff. And, we have ways that we get rid of them, and sometimes they'll want to attach to you. If they can't attach to you, they try to take jabs at you anytime. They're just waiting to get you. And, but you have more authority over them than you know. A lot of people don't understand that. And I tell a lot of these people, I don't do it anymore, but I used to tag along at least. I said, "Man, these guys," and I try to tell them, they won't listen. I said, "Okay, they're not going to listen. I don't want to be a part of this." You've got to do protection. When you're opening up these doors, these spiritual doors, you better close them. you don't know what's going to come out of them. They're going to attach to you if you don't have protection too. Do your protection prayer. Do your be together on this. This is fun. Yeah. All right. You know what you're doing? You're dealing with somebody and some things that you don't want to. It's who in accordance. They asked me about a Ouija boards. I said, no, I don't have nothing to do with those things. I said, I'm sure that you can get some benevolent entities out of the Ouija board. It's according who these entities are. That's their master. That's what you got to worry about. Their master. And usually their master comes in any way they can. They'll come to you in a Ouija board as Aunt Jean, or Uncle Tom, and say, hey, we're your aunt and uncle. Hello, come on, invite us in, let me get attached to you, I've seen that happen a lot. But you got to close these doors when you open them on investigations. I'm pretty sure you guys know that.
Oh, yeah, fully aware of that.
The thing about my area,
on the topic of spirits and demons, because we got a question up here that's asking if you think that spirits are aware of extraterrestrials.
I think the extraterrestrials are aware of them. Yes, and vice versa. Of course, sure they are. Just because you're extraterrestrial does not, mean that you're enlightened, and just because you're dead, it doesn't mean you're benevolent. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not, but yes, I believe that they are more spiritually, like you said, 13th dimension here. I think they're more in another dimension, like the bottom part of we're in the third dimension. That's what I see in these orbs. If you look, you see these circles, these lines, and you see people and things all in it. On my show, you can see these things. And I said, well, we're in the third dimension, and you see the energy coming off. You cross that line. I said, that's the fourth dimension right there. And you start seeing sometimes some ugly things. Now, these entities hang out right at the bottom of the fourth dimension. And that's how they come into the third dimension so easily. And they're nasty. Some of them are just plain, just awful demons and stuff. We have, when we meditate, it's almost like being born, of something into the fourth dimension. When you're in your deep meditation, you're in sleep. Sometimes it just happens naturally. You're being born into it. I don't know how to explain that, if that makes any sense to you, but there's pain and there is, labor pains. And then you go there and you're on the fourth dimension, and that's when they really mess with you. And you got to get above them. And if you can get to the top of the fourth dimension in your meditation and keep them at bay, if you learn how to do this, it's a learned thing, progress, not perfection, but you can do it. And you get to the fourth dimension, that's where the masters start hanging out and the benevolent entities and stuff. And then they'll just go back down to the bottom of the fourth. But yes, the bottom of the fourth, I believe that these entities, to answer your question, the extraterrestrials are aware of the spirits. Yes, they are. You remember that black guy that played the brother from another planet? And the demons were here, and they go, where are you from? Are you from? And then he goes, are you from up here? No, okay. The brother said, are you from up there? And they go, no. And he goes, oh, and he was an extraterrestrial. So yeah, I think that was one of the, I go, wow, those are demons. That's an extraterrestrial. So yeah, they're aware of it. And if they're making movies like that, and way back then, yeah, they're aware. I'm sure they are aware of the spirits. The extraterrestrials are. Now,
we had another question come in that's kind of interesting, because I was going to ask you about it anyway. I've had the opportunity to talk to a couple other UFOologists about this, but I kind of wanted your take on it, on the Bigfoot alien theory, the Sasquatch alien theory. It seems to be that a lot of the sightings for UFOs and Sasquatch here lately have been coinciding together.
Yes,
I've heard a couple other people on other podcasts talk about it, and someone came in and asked if you felt like Sasquatches may be aliens.
I do believe that they have some kind of spiritual connection there with the extraterrestrials, and they could well be, but I don't think they are, because I'll tell you why I say that. And I think I caught one in an orb on my last show today. I said, that looks like Bigfoot. You can just see the face. And yeah, I think they shapeshift, or maybe able to spiritually make a Merkaba like the ancients used to do. You know, we're calling this orbs. They're called Merkabas. They meditate and this energy goes around them, you know, the tetrahedron, the pyramids all around them. And they have a Merkaba and they travel. And some of these things that we're seeing out here are Merkabas. So when people were chasing them, I think some of the species of Bigfoot can do that. Now, I think there are some that are not, because I think they're native. Why I say that is when Mount St. Helens erupted, they found so many Bigfoots that were killed from the explosion. They couldn't get away. You would think they would be smart enough to know that it's going to blow. Let's get out of here. Some of them were. Some of them are wild. You know, some of them are different. They're different species. They're a different kind of Bigfoot. So they were gathering them up and keeping them from the press back then in the 80s and in 1980. I had a friend that lived in Tacoma in Seattle when that happened. And, you know, he told me it was just awful. He had pictures of it, had ash all over his car. He said the day was night, David. He said it was like a nightmare. He said, I can imagine what a nuclear war would be like. I said, yeah, wow. But anyway, they did, so much was destroyed, so much wilderness, and there were a lot of Bigfoots that were found and captured. They put some people, the guy, he said, well, you're in charge of it. The FBI, CIA, government came, said, you're in charge of it. They had helicopters. They went here and they went there and they were gathering them up. And there was other Bigfoot there that worked with them to help them. Now, that tells you right there is a different species. So, yes, I think some of them are extraterrestrials. And here we go again. You know, I think so much of East Eddy Ranch, because it's just so much clicks with me with them. You know, when you find something, but they're right there at Mount Adams, right by Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier and Mount Shasta, the Cascade Mountains. Anyway, he said that they're Bigfoot there. They come and there's a Gemini. He has fun with people. Some of the guests, they're benevolent. There was a guy that really wanted to see him, and he'd come up to one of the cabins and knock on the door and had to look out the window and smile at him and then run away. Well, it scared the shit out of them. And they would laugh about it and talk about it on their programs. And these guys are some credible people. And I think there are a family. And James said he was walking in the woods, the forest. He's a real nature guy. And he said he just saw one just crying. It was a female. It was just, you know, wailing. And he walked up on it, and it turned around and it looked. Thank you. Turned around and looked at James, and James just went, "Is there anything I can do for you?" And she said, you know, like that something had happened. She had lost a baby or something, and she got up and she walked away. But she did communicate with him. And you can ask James Gillian, email him. He'll tell you about it. It's on his program, on his website. It's on his radio show, all that. This was many years ago. So it's ancient history. But yeah, there's some, Bigfoot I think there's different species, and one is extraterrestrial, and probably several. You know, it's just like us humans. We got a lot of extraterrestrials that are here too. I mean, don't think we don't have guys and girls walking around. They're not from this planet. They're here. I'm serious. I've seen them, and I'd see them look at me, and they'd laugh because they go, "He knows that I'm an extraterrestrial." You know, my wife says, "What?" She goes, "Wow." I said, "Did you see that lady?" She goes, "Yeah, she kind of looked weird." I said, she was an extraterrestrial. And she started laughing because she knew that I knew. And she goes, damn, David, really? That's probably true. So they could be sitting at you next to you at the theater. Well, not anymore because of COVID, and that there's your another weapon that they use to try to control you. But, it's real. I understand that. Okay. If one mask works, why do we got to wear 3? Come on. It gets so stupid because it's all orchestrated. Well, just wear 3, and these people, okay, well, wear 3 then. So, and they're still getting it. But anyway, we won't go there. I have a lot of people that are into the politics, and it really gets stupid. It really does. We'll see what happens, though. I think some things are going to happen. And you guys, you're intuitive. You probably feel it. You probably felt it before it came, the COVID. I kept going around saying, oh, ouch. She goes, what's wrong? I said, man, something's coming. It's just, I don't know. It's going to be bad. It's going to be doom. I didn't know if it's going to be death. What was going to happen? Boom, people start calling me, Dave, man, you were right. It's COVID, man. It happened. I don't know, man. I knew something was coming. Other people said, man, I felt it. And then everybody is intuitive. And you just got to know how to use it, how to embrace it, how to take it and do something with it. Some people say, oh, man, I'm feeling awful, man. I don't know. I think I'm going crazy. I'm scared, man. I knew somebody was going to call me and they called me. I knew something was going to happen and it happened. No, everybody's intuitive and they think they're going crazy. If they would just embrace it, just meditate, take it in, connect with your higher power. It don't have to be God. It don't have to be Jesus. It can be Buddha. It could be, white feather. It could be a goddess. I know all of these people and we respect each other's higher power, but we know it's going to happen. It's coming. Something else is coming too. I don't know if y'all feel it or not, but it's going to be good. Something's going to it's going to say, yeah, it's like a fight with a bully. So you get that guy in a movie at the end of the movie. Get him. Yes, get them. We people by their fruits. So who these people are. And man, I tell you some of the things that I can't believe that we have leaders that do stuff that they do. But that's what happens when you sell your soul, man. Sell your soul. You can call it Satan. You can call it money, power, greed, control, whatever you want to call it. But you're selling your soul. Okay. I know I ramble a lot. I'm sorry about that.
My dog's jumping up on the counter trying to get food.
Okay,
by the way,
who's
Zohar,
talking?
I am. I'm sorry. So my dog was jumping up the can. I was snapping at him. No, just so everybody is aware, I don't have Wendy's chicken nuggets tonight for our normal fans, but I do have chicken.
All right. I like the white meat.
That's one of the big things about our show. Scott introduced the chicken nuggets, and it just exploded.
Yeah, our show was actually recognized by a Wendy's out in Utah.
Chicken nuggets on the show.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, so ever since then, we've always said, we bow to no corporate sponsors.
Catch it away, man.
Scott brings in his chicken nuggets. I bring in the Slim Jims.
All right.
But I think Scott Wilson might have a question for you because I've seen it brewing in his head.
Go ahead, Scott.
I had it on mute because April's making a shake, so that's why my mic is on mute.
I just looked like you had a look in your eye like there was a really big question you wanted to ask.
Are you sure that's not the reflection in his glasses?
Yeah, those are new. You like them?
I do like them.
Cool.
They do look nice.
No, I do have a quick question.
Okay.
I'm going to bring up the fourth kind, Nome, Alaska.
Yes.
I watched that movie a lot, and I'm
Wasn't
so
that
intrigued
disturbing?
by it.
It was so disturbing, wasn't it?
It was. It was.
Yeah, I was just,
because
go ahead.
they were able to incorporate actual footage with the movie, and man, I'm flabbergasted by the whole thing.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm just curious what your thoughts are on it as well, David.
Just like I said, just because you're extraterrestrial doesn't mean that you're benevolent, you know. You got those out there, you know, that you hear about, the Greys, and even the people that get abducted. I don't know if you heard of Teer Lovelace. I was on a radio show in Arizona. It was on a network that went nationwide. It was really well international, and I was scared that night. That was really something. But he's an author, and he is an abductee, and talked about how he got abducted by these aliens. And I finally met somebody real that I could talk to about it. I was on a panel like this, but we were on the radio. We wasn't on camera. But it is wild. He said, email me, call me, and we'll talk. And I said, well, you know, I want to make sure that I know what I'm going to talk to him about. You know, he said he'd come on my program. You know, I don't do interviews really. You know, I just kind of show you what I catch. But yes, people will come forward and say they see people in military uniforms. So what? Military with the Greys? So that tells you right there. That goes back to Laura. I don't know if you guys know Laura Eisenhower. She's the great granddaughter of Ike Eisenhower. Okay, you know. Oh God. I better not. I'm not going to say anything because, you know, she may not want me to say anything. But her grandfather, I'll say this, her grandfather met with the extraterrestrials, the Palladians and the Greys, whichever Greys they were. The Palladians said, we want you to do away with all your nuclear bombs. You guys know this. You probably know this if you watch, you know, the History Channel and stuff. He said, we can't do that. He said, well, we can't give you the technology, you know. We want your weapons is what we want. And, you know, Palladians, bye, you know, we're out. Here comes the Greys. They meet with them. We'll give you whatever you want. But in return, we want to be able to abduct a few people, you know, and do studies for our, you know, our welfare, you know, to keep our race going. Oh, yeah, you can have it. And they gave them weapons of mass destruction. They gave them technology. So they said, screw this contract. The Greys did. We'll take as many as we want and we'll do what we want. You know, and that's what they were doing. And that's why there was a battle. That's why they were fighting them. And they were living underground with the reptilians and they were taking people. And, you know, you're going to say this is far out. Dave, you're crazy. You know, okay. And that's cool. You got to look around where you live. Look where you are. Look where you are. Really let that sink in and look where you are. People are abducted. They're taken away. They're put underground. They're put in cages. Even at Area 51. There's witnesses. That's why I believe that. And I listened to them and I watched them and I believed them. When you know when you believe it, you see it, and I believe it, and I saw it. Not only on Earth is this happening. This is happening throughout the galaxy. Believe where you are, folks. We do not live on a world that most think that we do. They just see how they keep us controlled. Go to work, you know, buy this, watch TV. And then some people say, I can't stand it. I want off this planet. You know, people are committing suicide. I've had so many friends check out already. I talk to them. I try to say, you can't talk me out of it, Dave. You know, screw you. You know, I don't want to talk to you because you're making a lot of sense and I want to think about it. You know, permanent solution for temporary problems. I can't take it no more. You can take it. You just decide that you've had enough. And I've had so many good people checked out. But nevertheless, Jesus was placed in deep heaven, overseeing galaxies and governments. It says it right in the Bible. And I didn't know that. And this is years of Sunday school Baptist, Southern Baptist Sunday school and church. And I saw that. So they just don't tell you a lot of stuff. You know, you have to go search for it. That's what that seek and ye shall find. I said, he placed Jesus in deep heaven after he died, you know, and he's overseeing galaxies and governments. There, it tells you we're not alone right there. That tells you. And he's overseeing the stuff. There's benevolent, there's evil, there's yin, there's yang, there's good, there's evil, there's light, there's dark, there's joy, there's pain. And when you start understanding all of this,
one cannot exist without the other.
And people, and I have friends that, Dave, I can't handle you, man. You got to go, man. I can't handle it. You're driving me crazy, man. You know. So I don't have a whole lot of friends, but the friends I have just have accepted that I'm crazy, you know. And they don't. They said, Dave, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to know. You know, that's what they end up telling me here up in Connecticut.
I can tell you the exact time that I can remember the exact moment in my life when I became a believer.
Yeah.
That there was more out there than us.
An enlightenment. Lay it on.
Because you said Southern Baptist. My dad was an old regular Baptist minister.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Hey, I understand.
Yeah.
I was friends with a lot of those sons.
Yeah.
I know 2 of them. Yeah.
But him and I were laying out in the yard. I was 12 years old, and it's summertime. We're looking up at the sky, and we're seeing the little white dots go across the sky, steady, even pace. They're satellites, you know. We're seeing the satellites. We're stargazing, pointing out constellations. Well, yeah.
Maybe they may have been ships. Might have been ships. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so I'm looking south. And I see, looks like the same thing, a little white dot, but it's not white, it's red. And it comes moving across the sky at that same steady pace, stops almost straight above us, stops.
Wow.
And then turns 90 degrees and goes west.
Oh, man.
And my dad, the Baptist minister, says, huh, and would never talk about it again.
Wow. Yeah, they won't talk about it, man.
That's the day I believed that there was more in our universe, because I was smart. I was a fairly intelligent kid.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened after that, but as a kid, I was pretty smart.
Yeah,
and I knew that objects in space could not stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, this thing
literally, things like that. Yeah.
This thing literally stopped on a dime. I mean, it was just like it came up off the horizon. We seen it. It stopped like that. And then just the same, without accelerating or decelerating, the same speed, just took right back off going west.
Wow. Isn't that something?
And I did something myself many years ago. I was up on the north end of Fort Wayne. I was walking out of a doctor's appointment. I just happened to look up in the sky, and I saw what I originally thought was a balloon. You know, one of those that was floating around. And then all of a sudden it just stopped. It stopped dead in its tracks, and then it started moving around again. And then it would stop again, and then all of a sudden it was gone.
Yeah, that's when it happens, you know, and everybody says, man, I think I saw a UFO. Yeah, you did. You did. There's so many. And then if you saw it, they want you to see them.
Right.
You know,
See, I would have thought that it was just a balloon that got loose, and I would continue to think it was still a balloon had it not stopped.
Yeah.
It stopped twice on me.
Yeah, they stop and they flash or power up or something like that. I said, well, that's got to be a satellite. And I said, there's none, you know, on Satellite Live. I said, what is this, the government or something? One of the government things they have up there. And I shine the laser at it, and man, all of a sudden it started getting bright as the sun. It gets really bright, and it just powers up really bright, and then it goes back down. It's just saying, hello, we know that you're there. You know, we're your spiritual connection here. You know, that's not the government. And they do it at East Eddy Ranch all the time. I mean, they go out and they do the sky watch every night in the summertime. That's why I want to go up there so bad. And they were selling cameras. Well, a guy was up there, the third generation. That's what I wanted. I forget what his name was. You reminded me of him when you said you were laying out in the grass with your father looking up at the sky. God, I can't remember his name, but I said he was selling them for $1,800. Those things are like $3,000. And I wanted to get in contact with him, trying to get, I wanted to get some of the night vision goggles, cheap. And I couldn't get in touch with him. And somebody finally said, man, he died. I go, oh, no wonder I can't get in touch with him. But he was telling the same stories you were telling, that laying out, camping out west in the Rockies and looking up, but the UFOs were shooting at each other. And I've just never really seen that. I think I may have seen some things being shot off of some of the ships, but I think the ships that I see are benevolent ships, and he's shooting anything at them, it's just going to go right through them. They're going to say, what are you doing? The military comes, they can't do anything. They'll just disappear, into another dimension or something. That's why. And then you never hear of anybody getting abducted, at East Eddy Ranch, Mount Adams, anywhere like that. You do up on Shasta Mountain, and the other places. But this place right here, it's just too benevolent. And that's what I try to do, is keep my little area benevolent. I do the clearings, what we do before we do anything. I did a clearing before I did this broadcast. I said, what are my intentions? I got white light around me. I don't want any of these negative entities around me. They're all around us, folks. That's what you hear. They said the devil and the angel. No, what you hear is a bully child and a scared child, and then you have your intellect here. So what I think it is, I really do believe that. But you have your negative entities. Oh God. Demons. I keep this place benevolent, and these portals here are open. They're not made to be closed. They have gatekeepers, and by God, I've seen the gatekeepers. They look around like this, and they're in spiritual form, have horns, holding something, and said, I'm the gatekeeper, and I am benevolent. I might look like a demon, but I'm not. I'm the gatekeeper. And somebody, I said, I feel, you just know, you just feel it. You have that authority. If you learn to use it. I said, that is a gatekeeper. That is, I didn't say gatekeeper. I said, that's a benevolent entity right there coming up out of the vortex there. And somebody came along and said, David, that's a gatekeeper. And I said, that's exactly what it is. Right there at the fairy circle, right there at the quartz boulder, and where all this activity is going up. Stuff is coming up out of the ground. They're looking at us. They're smiling. They're waving. They say, we see you. It's wow. But yeah, a lot of negative stuff that are here. You got to do your clearing. On all of my shows, I do a short clearing. I hope people read it before they watch the show. If you do that before an investigation, what's your intention? What you're going to do? You get with everybody and you're on the same page. You don't want nothing attacking or attaching you, because they will. And if you let them attach you, it can manifest into making a person commit suicide. I mean, that's how far it will go if you allow it. It can cause divorce. It can cause chaos. And that's what they want. That's what they want to do. That's what they feed. That's their food. That's just like a vampire's blood. What can I say? That's what I believe. You don't have to believe it. This is my opinion. And this is what
it's just funny that you would say vampire, because we actually kind of covered that topic a few weeks ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was more.
They're vampires. There's we don't live on a world that you think we do. People are saying, "Oh, he's crazy. He believes in ghosts and vampires."
I'm kind
Watch out.
So
I'm kind of a resident.
I've been stalked by a vampire in New York City, but yeah, I knew it right off. I knew it. But go ahead with your story. I've got all kind of different stories, man. Go ahead.
Well, actually, I just wanted to ask you when you were touching on abductions, like particularly the I know I'm probably going to say the name wrong, but it's Bonnie Hill.
Oh, Betty and Barney Hill. Shoot,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's them, and then there's Travis Walton. Those are the two most
Travis. Yeah,
famous.
Yep.
I've
Travis
spoken
Walton.
with
Yep.
him before.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I believe it.
What is your opinion on those stories? Because at the time it was really unheard of, whereas now there's like thousands of abductions being reported.
There are different kind of grays,
Mhm.
Jeremy, and this type of gray was benevolent. They're from Zeta Reticuli, and he showed where he was from. Betty was talking to him, and she was in pain. They were taking cells from her navel. That's exactly how you make clones. From that, that's where you get the best cells from the clones. And you can learn. I learned that on a Star Trek: The Next Generation episode. But nevertheless, that's the best way. It is true. Your stomach and your areas where the best cells are to clone, and it was painful. And she said, then he quit and it wasn't painful anymore. So I don't know what happened there. But she asked where they were from while she's on the ship, and he shows a star chart and she memorized it and drew it. And nobody knew anything until years later. A lady, I forget her name. I should know all of this. I do, but if it's not that important to me and I don't talk about it a lot, I forget about it. But anyway, she made a mobile of it. There goes my cats. They were scared of that. There go the felines. Oh,
Sorry, my son's friend just came in.
No,
The dogs went ballistic.
I'm just kidding. That's life. Oh God, what was I talking? And she made a mobile of the star system that Betty drew, and it was Zeta Reticuli. They narrowed it down and found it from the telescopes and the star pictures of the stars, constellations, and stuff. So they were from there. They have like 2 or 3 sons or something, but they're saying their race was dying and that they needed the DNA. So there's another one that's wanting our DNA. And then you have something else wanting your DNA. What are they doing with it, though? They're making clones for what happened to the fallen angels? What happened to the Nephilim? If you know this, your father probably told you all about it. If they were talking about it back then, I don't know. This is more recent stuff. About the Nephilim and stuff and the giants. I don't know. Some were talking about it back then, but they were taking this DNA and making bodies, and they can go into these bodies, and they have a body now. They're no more not spiritual anymore, but they have no soul. They're soulless. And even in the Bible says. What was it? Lazarus was raised from the dead non-corruptedly. And I go, non-corruptedly? I said, you mean you can raise the dead corruptedly? So that said, wow, that just, wow, zombies, everything else. That could be very, very true. And there are a lot of reports of it. I don't take much stock in it, but, I said, well, nothing surprises me. It could probably happen. So anyway, what was I talking about? What were we talking about?
Scott,
Betty and Barney.
Scott if he had a UFO experience in his lifetime.
Say what?
Have you ever had any kind of UFO experience?
Who, me?
Yes.
No, Scott.
Okay, I'm sorry, Scott. Go ahead.
1980, December of 1980, Indiana. My sister, Tina, myself, I believe my sister, Missy, my cousin Travis, and my cousin Farah were all outside playing while my parents and my aunt and uncle were in just being kids, and this ship just came and hovered right over us. And being young kids, you know, you kind of look up, you're in awe, you know, and you're like, wow. But at the same time, you're kind of scared. So I remember grabbing rocks, you know, and we're all throwing rocks at trying to hit this ship. And, you know, and all of a sudden it just kind of moved slowly, head south, and there was woods across the field from us. And this thing just hovered down, like landed there, and we all kind of just looked at each other and just ran in the house. You know, of course, you know, we told our parents, and they're like, yeah, whatever, go back outside and play. And that was actually the first time. I mean, I remember, I mean,
do you remember anything else? Did you have any missing time? Do you think you might have been on board and can't remember it?
I honestly, I don't know. I mean, there's so much, you know, it's just, and it's crazy. And even my wife, April's had experience, and, you know, and she's probably skeptic more than anybody when she says, hey, calls me and says, hey, we just seen something that I can't explain, because I know it wasn't a plane around this house. And then, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when you believe it, you see it. I promise.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
It's not, I see it, I believe it. I got to believe it, and I see it. Yeah.
Yep.
My mom and dad have had an experience as well, long before they got married. My dad once told me he was driving cross country, and he was either in California, or it was either California, Nevada, or Utah. It was one of those three. I forget which one. And it was late at night. He said that he happened to look up in the sky, and he saw two lights that they were just sitting there. And then all of a sudden they went like this and shot straight up.
Yeah, that's got to be extraterrestrial, because the human, that's what I'm seeing right here. And they're flashing at me. The human can't take that G-force unless they have some kind of inertia dampening control. And unless we've reversed engineered it, and I'm sure that we have. I don't think they're coming to Clinton, Connecticut and flying over the house, the U.S. Army, the Air Force, or anything. These are extraterrestrials that knows that this is a benevolent place, a high energy. It's on the Hammonessa Leyline. It's got a lot of energy coming, and a lot of love and a lot of benevolency is being broadcast here. Right. And I'm bringing people here. We're doing sky watches, and we're doing clearings. We're doing all of the benevolent stuff, trying to keep everything positive, just like at East Eddy Ranch. That's all. That's how I know how to do it, is watching him, and it works. And they're coming. They're checking us out, and ask them to come lower. And the video, the third video, I did one today. Last Friday, 3 weeks ago, they came lower, and I could see the ships barely. It was right at twilight, and they'd go, poof, poof, poof. I said, there's 4 ships. I said, I see 4 ships. Now, it was one ship that was doing that. It was here, and it was just skipping. And I said, they have that inertia, dampener. And then there were like 4 or 5 ships all flying around, and someone just zip, 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 zip. And they're coming lower because I asked them to come lower. I asked them to power up. They're powering up. It's been cloudy the last few days. And this last one, I caught 4 or 5 in between the clouds. And I don't think they were satellites. It says that they weren't. But they had a lot of energy, but they just kind of ignored me. So that could be some kind of other extraterrestrial that don't want to communicate with humans that are here, that are flying over. I think not everything is a satellite or space junk. And I know when Space Link is going to come over, because I keep a really sharp eye. And sometimes you can see them to just come right over one right after another, and then they're gone. That's Space Link. And they're getting farther apart now.
Big of all the stories that I've heard, because most stories that I hear, they all either move really quick, or it's more like an abduction type thing. Like my mom, when she was a teenager, she once told me the story of her and her cousin I don't remember where they were living, but there was something that was cylindrical that was right over their house. And if they were outside, it would kick up like a windstorm around them to where they had to get back inside the house. And as soon as they shut the door, the wind just died down. So then they would try to get back outside and it would kick back up again.
Wow.
And that would happen for, I want to say about 15 minutes. And then all of a sudden it's just gone.
Wow.
Have you ever heard anything like that before?
Oh yeah, and then did they get her? Did they pick her up? Does she remember anything? Does she have any missing time or anything like that? I mean, you got to keep that in mind. Be aware of it.
Yeah, that was all she ever told me.
Wow.
She never said anything about missing time or anything else.
Yeah, but she telling you everything. I mean, that's
just something that
sometimes people won't tell you everything that happens. I tell you. I mean, even your own mother. I mean, I don't know. My mother wouldn't, I know. But some people won't tell you because they're scared. And they'll think that you think that they're crazy. They'll think I'm crazy if I say this, you know. And I'm not telling my son this, you know. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, Jeremy.
Okay. We do have a question in here for you. Do you think that the RH factor is from the aliens?
Anunnaki. That's what I think they come from. The Anunnaki.
That's
That's all I want to say on that. Yeah, I do. The Anunnaki. That what else can I say?
okay. So having brought them up, they were featured pretty heavily on the TV show X-Files. So now thinking about that, with all the TV shows that they've done, all the movies that they've made over the decades, do you think there's any of them that may have gotten it right or as close to being right?
What is right? You know,
like the actual truth. Because you got the whole plausible deniability. You know, let them go ahead and make this movie. You know, people are going to look at it as this is Hollywood, this is entertainment. Something like that's not going to happen. But is there anything in any of these movies that could be as close to the truth?
Yes. What's the guy's name that did E.T.? What's his name? Steven Spielberg. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He met with the guy from Project Blue Book. What's his name? Hynek. Yeah. When they were taken, that really did happen. According to Linda Moulton Howell. I don't know if you know her. If you ever heard, she's an investigative reporter that did a lot on the cattle mutilations on HBO. And she has her own YouTube channel. And she's a lot older now, and she is not holding back. She's really talking about a lot. She's talking about Antarctica, she's got some informers that were there. They go down. There are ships there. There are places there. There's even I've even heard stories of the fallen angels being chained there, as they said in the Bible. They're chained in darkness. And even Buzz Aldrin said there's great evil here. He even put it out there, man, and they covered that up real fast. And Elijah died. I don't know what happened. And then you had that John Kerry went down there on the election in 2016, and they said, "Get the hell out of here. We've already made our decision." You know, I don't know, something about the election. And from what I've heard from the masters talking, and he went to New Zealand, and then they had a big earthquake. Just to let you know, we're still watching you. Here's an earthquake. Go with that. And I heard that's what that was all about. And I believe it. I really do. They have that control. So did they get it right? Yeah, I think they have gotten it right with movies. I think a lot of these movies, like I was talking early, Colonel Corso from the book, look his name up and you'll see what all he did with UFOs and how he talked to and saw them and talked to them. the radar would bring down their ships. It was just something about our radar that their ships could not handle, and it brought them down. And that's something. Did you see what was that? Invaders from Mars with that song when he was yodeling and burst their head.
Mars.
Mars Attacks, yeah.
Yeah, Mars Attacks. Just something stupid that can make technology just,
Well, being a former Navy man myself.
Oh yeah. All right. Navy. Yes. I was going to be a naval
Scott's
aviator.
former Army. I'm former Navy.
Yeah.
But I had a pretty high military clearance.
Oh
and,
yeah. Cosmic.
One of the things I read about, and it's funny because we were talking about movies, and my first thought was Galaxy Quest with Tim Allen.
Okay, yeah.
I know that was a comedy, but I remember reading about how SETI was sending old TV shows like I Love Lucy and things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They were sending that signal out into space.
Adolf Hitler was one of the first ones. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was one of those things where I wondered, if that didn't attract some newcomers to Earth that hadn't been. Sure. And also if it hadn't, what's the word I'm looking for? If they hadn't based their idea of our culture off of what they were seeing from these images.
Probably. You know what gets me? What was the guy's name? Carl Sagan. Everybody thought the world of him. He covered up a lot. He put that gold record and sent it out to space. It's a UFO. They find it and they say, "Oh wow, here's a cool planet. Listen, everybody's saying hello." Well, let's take this gold and go to their planet, and then they try to kill them when they get here. So, well, you told us to come. Well, here, take your record. We're leaving.
If they were to do something like that now, what would they put on that gold record?
Well, binary code. They're already doing it. They're doing it with what is it? What is it called? SETI. SETI. Just SETI. I have a computer that scans the some of their files. The WOW signal, all of that. What happened in Puerto Rico to the telescope, the radio telescope? That's very mysterious that it crashed and it went down when they were filming it too, and that was one thing. They caught it on tape. I said, wow, this is so orchestrated. There's something, and I think China has the really big one, like Cibro or whatever it was called in Puerto Rico. And so they're really cutting communication off from people. People used to be able to, I could do it here on the computer and zoom in somewhere where they are. And they have a telescope, a binocular radio telescope on an Apache Hill out west somewhere. They tried to get them stopped from building it. But those guys from over at they're in the Ozark, I believe. I forget what his name is. But Stearman, used to be, his father was the preacher. He's a preacher. And they had the Stearman Aircraft Company. Well, I forget what the name of the place, their network is, but they went up to there and got a tour. And the telescope is named Lucifer. And guess who has a lot of authority there? The church in Rome, the Pope. And I go, oh man, then you start putting these things together. And if you don't, they come together. You know people by their fruits, and ask for clarity. Ask for, show me clarity. Give me something, and boom, boom, it'll come to you. And it may come to you when you least expect it in a different way than you expect it, but it does come. So yeah.
Rosie asked real quick, do you believe President Eisenhower really met with aliens at Holloman Air Force Base? And we covered that a little bit earlier on.
Yeah.
I wanted to elaborate. It was right after, right during Eisenhower's race, or right during Eisenhower's presidency, and then into JFK's presidency when the space race started. First the moon, all that came around right during. I believe NASA started under Eisenhower, didn't it?
Yes, and the Nazis knew all of these extraterrestrials, and when they realized that Hitler was, they went just like Battlestar Galactica. We talk about these TV shows and movies. When they arrived, that intelligent extraterrestrial Starbuck's son that was born mysteriously from the woman on the planet he crashed on, and he was leading them to Earth. He goes, well, Earth's best technology, the one that's got the most technology and up and everything, is this race called the Nazis. So we'll talk to them first, because they've got things going. They got, they're going into space and stuff. And once they realized how bad he was and what he was doing, it might have took them a while. And they go, we're not giving him any of this technology. He'll destroy the whole place. We can't do that. And I'm sure when they were there, they knew a lot of those scientists that came to Huntsville, Alabama, and that von Braun guy that was headed up NASA and the Saturn V rocket. So yeah, they had help. Yes, I believe that. Yes, and I believe, and I know his great granddaughter, and she said yes, he did meet with extraterrestrials, and I'm sure if you ask her, she'll tell you if she wants to. I can't speak for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She said, Dave, don't speak for me. Don't volunteer me for stuff, and stuff like I don't want to hear that. I'd be horrified if that happened, but I'll talk about them and say, they're doing a good job. And that was her. She's the great granddaughter, and she's got a YouTube channel, and she does podcasts and stuff. Talk to her and ask her. She'll tell you. She don't have anything to hide, I'm sure. But don't. I'm not going to. I heard this. Talk to her. Ask her. Go ask her. But yeah, she said that it definitely did happen, and I believe it. And Truman too. And he wouldn't. We're bombing Japan. They tried to get them to stop. Don't use. So every time you use these things, it's hurting us too in different dimensions. It's affecting us. And it's stopped. It's all underground now, and they're trying to get them to stop it. And they're even going there and shutting them down and melting the warheads and just destroying them. James Gillian even talks about that. Now, I don't know how true it is, but these guys are in the know. Now, I used to listen to Bob Dean. You remember Bob Dean? Look up these names. Bob Dean, Clifford Stone, Ben Rich, father of Stelk. He knew all about it back in the 90s. He said, you think about Star Trek. He said, all their technology, he said, we got better. He said, we have the technology to take ET home now. They reversed a lot of stuff. They've got all kinds of stuff they found on the moon. Like I was telling you, they crashed in because of that big war. They couldn't go anywhere. They couldn't make it to Earth. Some of them did leave Mars and went to Earth. They said they landed in Antarctica. Listen to David Wilcock. He talks about it. He tells the story. It's down there. Linda Moulton Howell is talking about it. I have to be real careful because David was talking about it, and everybody went over to Linda's channel and started subscribing. She got a bunch of subscribers. She said, well, you can't do that, David. You're talking about my private stuff, David Wilcock, and got him on copyright, with YouTube. And they shut him down for 3 months. He goes, thanks a lot, Linda. I said, Linda, what do you do that for? Look at all the subscribers you got. So we're supposed to be in this together. What's wrong? I don't know what happened there. Maybe I'm not getting the whole story between those two, You never know. you know. But you see these people arguing and fighting. Yeah, and here's one right here, Stephen Greer. I can't stand that man, Stephen Greer. He is an egomaniac, man. I said I couldn't do a Skywatch with him. I'd kick his ass. That's how bad he would make me so mad. And I don't care if he hears this or not, because he knows he's an egomaniac. Dr. Greer. He's a medical doctor too, from the Carolinas. ER doctor. I was a nurse. I knew all these people. I worked in the Carolinas back years ago in a galaxy far away. Feels like it. I wish I'd have made a lot of money back then. But yeah, man, he gets this ego thing, man. He said, when the ship lands, which it will, I go in first. I'm the first one to go in. And you do not go in. You don't go on board unless I tell you to come on board. I'm going, you know, he plays these tunes that he's got that he says that he recorded somewhere. And it's like he's broadcasting gibberish to these extraterrestrials. They're going, well, what is this? There they are. They're down there. Oh, man. And I laugh because it's funny, because when he starts to speak at these places, contact in the desert and everything, no UFOs show up or nothing, and he's all got the muscles, I am Stephen Greer, and I go, God, that's pitiful. I feel so sorry for him. But James Gillian gets on and says, peace, love, and he says, they're benevolent. And then the ships just all come over the top of them and they're flying around. Everybody's looking, taking pictures, got their lasers out. It's so funny. It's so funny. But yeah, you got some people like that. I see the chat. I didn't know this was where you're getting the questions. Where are they getting the questions from? I see that now.
Oh yeah,
some good questions. You got a really good, intelligent audience out there.
Absolutely, we have some of the best viewers.
Yes,
and speaking of that, David,
We do.
we're going to have to bring you back on again to continue this talk sometime. For
It's
sure.
been 2 hours. Oh God!
Yeah, we're running right at the end of our show here.
yeah.
I told my wife, I said, I can't talk 2 hours. She said, yes, you can. Don't worry. Just go up there. She said, you will. Don't worry.
I get the same thing. Trust me.
I said, I don't know what I'm going to tell them, but I've got a lot of stories too. I can tell you some stories that would you wouldn't believe. Like I was telling you about that vampire stalking me in New York City, and we'll leave that for next time. So I sure do appreciate you guys letting me on. Can I plug my little channel?
Absolutely.
David, the Backyard Ufologist. And I just did a show today, and I do just like I'm doing right here. I ad lib. There's no script. Sometimes I back myself in a corner and people start laughing, especially when I'm live, because I can't edit it out. When you see those edits, I got to edit that out, man, or something else like, and, blah, blah, president. And I go,
Right.
let me tell you about this, and I go off on this rant for about 15 minutes, and I go, oh, I got to stop. And I have to edit it out, So anyway, well, I know you're pressed for time. Thank you for having me on the show. David, the Backyard Ufologist on YouTube. I sure do appreciate it if you subscribe. Watch some of my shows. I need about 300 more hours before I start making some money. I really do need to put some money into the
We will watch for sure.
Okay, peace and love.
Hang on for just a moment, and we'll be right back with you.
Love and light. Love and light. Okay, I'll be hanging out.
Yeah, stick around. We'll bring you back on. We're going to go into our final thoughts, and then when we get off of live, we'll bring you back and do it.
Okay, very good.
Okay. So meanwhile, yeah. Okay, we'll see you later.
Sure. I'll be here.
All right.
I hope I'm here, Hey, if I disappear mysteriously, I've gone with them. You know that.
All right.
That's what I tell my wife. If I go, man, that's where I am. There you go. Okay.
On that note, we're going to go into.
All right, David. We'll be right back with you.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good.
Wow.
So what do you guys think?
That was
Awesome. Very
Yeah.
awesome.
it was. I mean, so many things. Some of them I had heard about, and many of them I have not.
Yeah, well, I tell everybody these things right here. Captain Kirk had one of these flip phones back in 1966 and
Yep.
65, and he was communicating through space and time.
Mm-hmm.
So, some of that stuff was actually based in reality, and it's coming true. The older we get, the more we see.
Star Trek, when you really think about it, was way ahead of its time.
But Star Wars will always be better.
That's your opinion.
I'm just disappointed because we ain't got lightsabers yet. I mean, how the heck do we not have lightsabers yet?
That
Probably
would be
because of people
awesome,
like
wouldn't
me.
it?
Probably because of people like me, but I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, because if I had a lightsaber, some unmentionables may or may not happen.
All right, guys,
Valid
we need to hop off here. Next week,
Looking forward to next week.
Ricky Burrell. We're gonna be talking Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
Sasquatch.
It's going to be awesome, dude. It's going to be awesome.
My relative.
Timmy's brother.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So next week, Ricky Burrell.
And later on, Pun, we
will have Bishop James Long of Sacred Division. He'll be coming on in an hour.
Yep.
So
stay tuned.
Yeah, he should have a show. He didn't have a show last week, but I think he'll be back this week. I'm not really sure, to be honest. But anyway, for those of you guys out there in the audience, thank you so much for tuning in and being so interactive, asking questions. We really appreciate that. Thank you for following us, and thank you for following the Paranormal United Network. You guys really make this happen.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And until next time,
if it's paranormal or beyond,
Scott,
we got it covered.
Absolutely.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.